New York City would not be New York City probably without Rudy Giuliani, the mayor, America's mayor. He helped turn this city around, had a lot of cops to do that with, and a lot of New Yorkers are very grateful. There would also be no Andrew Giuliani without Rudy Giuliani. His son, Andrew Giuliani, is a special assistant to President Trump, public liaison assistant to the President Trump. And Andrew, by the way, is being speculated about as a potential candidate for mayor here in New York City, which is disintegrating right now. Andrew, welcome to Newsmax. How are you?
Greg, it's great to be on with you. You know, I'm just a concerned New Yorker like yourself. I know how much the city means to you.
It does. It means a lot to all of us. And so, look, let's get right to it. You've got a pretty prestigious job there in the White House. I believe that Trump will be reelected. Next year is an election year. Your name is well known. I assume your views are similar to your father and similar to the president. Is it something you're thinking about doing seriously?
Well, truthfully, the next 47 days, as we end up approaching on this election, I'm going to be focused doing my job for the American public, for the president, doing everything I can in the Office of Public Liaison to make sure that the public has a voice, has a door here in the White House. Once we get past the election, then I'm going to start thinking about what role I can play in helping to save New York City. Because to me, it's obviously it's terrible seeing what's happened to it. My wife is still up in New York. She's kept her job up there while I've come back here. So I get back about once a month. And to see what's happened over the last 7 years, but especially over the last 6, 7 months, it's just been horrifying.
So your name is Giuliani, and you know what? There are a lot of liberal Democrats here I think would actually warm up to the name Giuliani. They still remember how your father helped turn things around here, again, with the cops. And there's a desire to see that again, even from the far left. They don't like what's happening here, so I hope you give it serious consideration.
Well, thank you, Greg. You know, I mean, you know better than anybody that it's always, as a Republican trying to win in New York, you're always drawn to an inside straight draw. But I think they see what's going on and that public safety is just totally set aside. I mean, public safety should be at the nucleus of any public policy decision that's made in New York. And this mayor has just decided to totally abandon that. He's abandoned his cops, and it's just absolutely terrible. It just disgusts me.
Last thing on this, your dad obviously has been very outspoken. He called Mayor de Blasio an idiot. My only beef with that was I don't think it's quite strong enough. But no, are you talking to your dad about this? I would imagine so.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, you know, in terms of him classifying him as an idiot, I think it was pretty obvious when one of the Democratic congressional candidates actually ran an ad that said that Mayor de Blasio was the worst mayor in the history of the city. And the mayor's press secretary had to go back 140 years to give an example to find a mayor that even compared to him. So even the mayor's press secretary think that there's been, you know, no mayor that's been anywhere near as bad as Mayor de Blasio in the last 150, 140 years in New York City.
So back to your job right now. You helped make the Big Ten football happen. It was gone. It was over. Actually, the White House put out a little video. We got a clip of it right here. You were instrumental. You were one of the guys making this happen, but let's check it out.
I want football back. I've been calling for football to be back, including Big Ten. Big Ten, get with it. Open up your season, Big Ten.
What's your confidence level that there will be a college football season this year?
0% chance.
Big Ten football is coming back.
Many of life's most valuable lessons are learned on the field of competition. You give everything you've got. Victory is always within reach.
We showed the second half. The first half was all these sports guys saying there's no way there's going to be Big Ten football. No way, impossible. How did you guys make that happen?
Well, I got to tell you, watching that, if I wasn't going to sprain my ACL, I'm ready to actually get on the field right now. I'm so pumped about it. The truth is, this was absolutely dead in the water on August 31st. The president had talked to a few different players that were involved with the Big Ten, that were involved in college football. It was public that he spoke to Trevor Lawrence, who's a Heisman Trophy candidate, national champion from a couple years ago. And the players started a campaign called We Want to Play. The president really realized that these players did not have a seat at the table in making the decision to stop playing. So The players and some of the parents ended up going viral with this. The president recognized it and basically spoke to myself, but really the guy who quarterbacked this in our office is a guy named Tim Pataki. The president's mentioned it a couple times, so I have to give him complete props. He was the quarterback on all this one, and the president made that call to Commissioner Warren on September 1st. Between today and September 1st, we had hundreds of calls. The White House had hundreds of calls with Big Ten officials, players, coaches, athletic directors, and parents to make this happen. I like to say the president is willing to tackle difficult problems, whether it's peace in the Middle East or getting the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Michigan Wolverines to pull in the same direction. I don't know which one is tougher, but the president is definitely willing to stand up to any challenge.
Pataki? I only know one Pataki. George Pataki, right? Is it the same Pataki?
It's like a New York reunion in there. You know, I don't know if there's a relation with George. I know it's not close, but he's an absolute great guy, an Ohio State Buckeye, knows it well, and that's why he quarterbacked this one. I was happy to play a small role in it, and obviously I don't think we're celebrating today. I know we're not celebrating today if the president doesn't call Commissioner Kevin Warren of the Big Ten on September 1st and offer federal resources.
Well, Andrew Giuliani, you turned out to be a very impressive young man, big White House job, potentially a future mayor. You know, some of us were worried about you back in, what was it, 1994. Not worried, but we were.
My grandmother certainly was.
All right, we want to put this up on the board. When your dad was inaugurated for his first term, he had basically a co-anchor as he gave the inaugural address. Do we have a picture of that or some video? There you are as a little kid, and you were very rambunctious and active. Do you remember this moment? And, you know, was your dad angry at you later?
I absolutely remember the moment. A couple of things on that. One, there was a girl that I was trying to impress in the audience, and I figured, what better place to actually do it than when you have a platform right there? Of course, not realizing at 7 years old that they weren't coming to see me. They were coming to see my father. But the only person who was upset about that was my grandmother, who was amazing to me, was my father's mother, an Italian grandmother, and she was furious that I took her son's moment in the spotlight. And my father said, don't worry, Mom, I'll have a few more moments. One other thing, though, one of your co-hosts here at Newsmax, Sean Spicer, the first weekend that Saturday Night Live ended up doing a skit about him with Melissa McCarthy. I came in that Monday and I told him, I was like, look, it's not too bad, but it's no Chris Farley. So he's still trying to catch up. One day they'll end up getting a White House impression anywhere near as good as Chris Farley.
Yeah, I got this vague feeling they're going to be making fun of me on Saturday Night Live. I think I'm going to beat him to it. I should come up with something to beat him to it. Andrew Giuliani, that was an amazing moment. You're an amazing guy with a great big future. We'll see. Give our best to the president, and thanks for coming on.
Greg, thank you for having me.
You bet. You bet.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them. Tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.